I hate that about your house. Good afternoon. Got a pretty good sized article today. Have you ever thought like what makes you upset when you walk through a house as a buyer? Maybe you don't think about it. Maybe you just go and see a house and you're like, that's disgusting. Well, today I saw an article that says 26 things. I'd like to go over it pretty quick since we don't have a lot of time. Let's get into it right now. 26 things home buyers will hate about your house. Now, there are things that I hate about going through houses, and I will add to that. But let's get going here. So, um, let's let's get started here. Um, it says clutter and dirt. So, does clutter and dirt bother you when you go through a walkthrough? Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Houses that are filled with hoarders, people that hoard. Oh my gosh, just terrible. So, um, let's go to number two: converted rooms. Uh, I don't really see that many converted rooms. It's not that big of a deal to me. Like for instance, sometimes a dining room will be turned into a like a library or something like that, or an office. It doesn't bother me. It's not something that buyers hate. Uh, One of the things it says is it says that if you leave it as is, you force your buyers to use their imaginations, with it, which is a no-no. Now, that is true. You kind of want to set the table for them, but if like you set the table and say this is a room we use as a library, that's good enough. You don't have to worry about. And if it's a vacant room, then that's no good. Number three, your personal interests. I don't really agree with this as much as you would think. So I don't mind pictures. Some people are in the article. It says get rid of books. I don't really. If somebody doesn't like the books you read or doesn't like your pictures, it's kind of on them. Um, Now, if it's cluttered or if it's disgusting looking, or if your family looks terrible and you don't take a good family photo, I guess get rid of that. But it's not going to hurt to have a few pictures. It's not going to hurt to have a few books out, even if it's not something that somebody else would like. No big deal. Number four, crowded countertops. Yes, this picture is perfect. No crowded countertops. You don't want anything on the countertops if you can help it. Indoor houseplants. I've never really had this problem, but if I were to go into a house and it looked like this, I would have a problem. The article says you should get rid of artificial floral arrangements and plants that collect dust and will remind your buyers of grandma's house. Um, what I found a lot of times though is if you have like a situation where there are a lot of houseplants, or then you'll see wallpaper, you'll see other things that just show that it's a dated home, and at that point, it's okay. They're probably not priced at the top of the market. Holiday decorations. I also disagree with this one. So if you want to put up a Christmas tree, put up a Christmas tree. If you want to have Thanksgiving stuff out, go for it. It talks about not leaving presents out during showings. That makes sense. That makes sense. But that would be more of a security thing. It's not. I don't think anybody's going to walk in your house during the holidays and say I hate this or that. I just don't. I wouldn't worry about that one. Custom window treatments. This is kind of an interesting one. No one really likes your drapes. No one's doing it anymore. Curtains, no one's doing it anymore. For showings, if somebody asks me on a listing, I say take it down. You may have spent hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars on it, but no one wants to see that stuff anymore. And it ties into something we're going to see later. So just keep that in mind. It says a hodgepodge of area rugs. I've never had that problem, really. I've never seen a house that had too many area rugs. It just isn't something that I've come across. I guess it would be annoying. Unpleasant odors, 100%. This is an issue. Buyers hate houses that smell. They hate houses that smell so bad that if they walk into one and it just has the certain smell, they're just going to walk out. I'm going to go with cat pee. That's the smell. Once you smell it, nope, not interested. So that's definitely true. And then this says darkness. So a house that is very dark. This goes along with me to the drapes and that kind of situation. You want to open that house up. And then when you do open those windows, when you get the curtains and everything down, please wash the windows. It makes a difference like you would not believe. So that's one way to fix the darkness. If I'm listing a house and it's at night and it's a vacant house, I'll go over and turn on the lights for when the people walk through. and then when they leave, I'll turn them off. I want people to be able to not fumble around looking for light switch. I want them to try and put themselves in the position of buying the home and only worrying about that. Your pets, this is a tough one. Your pets can smell. That's one thing. Number two, it's kind of sad to see the little dogs in the cages when you go through, but what are you going to do, right? A lot of times we'll see in the listing instructions, the showing instructions will say there's a cat, but the cat's not going to bother you. Don't worry about it. And to be honest, a lot of cats don't really. They seem to hide and everything's fine. So I'm not anti-pet or anything. I agree that if you see a dog run around or something, it's not going to work. Not going to go well. No privacy for showings. Number 12, 100%. I hate when sellers are at the house. It drives me insane. Because you want to be able to kind of walk through the house and kind of linger and really try to put yourself into that home. Messy neighbors, number 13. Now, what can you do about messy neighbors? It's really weird. So if you say to your neighbor that's, got a mess, you say, hey, I'm going to list my house for sale. You're going to be done with me. Would you please do me a favor and keep your yard clean? I don't know if they're going to like that. And then alternatively, maybe they hate you and they don't want newer people moving in the neighborhood. Maybe they want worse people moving into the neighborhood. So maybe they leave it like that. I don't know. Vanity strips. This was one I hadn't thought of, but I guess I could see it. So the vanity strips are those things you put above the bathroom mirror, and they got the lights. But it's from the 70s and it's time for it to go. I don't have any in my house, never did. But if somebody asks, yeah, it'd be a good thing to change out. Wouldn't be very cheap. Haunted house landscaping. Some things like grass, like we need to cut the grass. We need to have the grass cut. We need to be on a program where that gets cut. We need to have the bushes trimmed. It doesn't matter if if they're evergreens and it's in the fall or the winter, just get them trimmed, leaves picked up. I know that's terrible because like in St. Louis right now, the leaves are coming down pretty hard, but you got to get it cleaned up. You got to have it look nice. That's curb appeal is like very, very, very important. Wall-to-wall carpeting. It says buyers these days expect hardwood floors even in starter homes. I don't particularly care about carpet. I don't like it. I would prefer hardwood floors. The bedrooms can be carpet, but most of my buyers now are they just say, if they see a house, does it have hardwood floors? Are there hardwood floors underneath? If not, it's okay. We're just gonna buy hardwood floors at some point. Nobody's in the carpet right now. Now, if your hardwood floors are damaged and you can get a builder's grade carpet, put it down. Put it down. I mean, it's going to be better than what they're going to look at anyway. So, but I also know what the builder grade carpet looks like, and I always point it out to my buyers. So it's kind of like probably not going to win that one either. Brass fixtures. I'm trying to think in my house if I have any. I don't have any brass fixtures in my house. When I see the houses that do have brass fixtures, it's the same houses that have the wallpaper. It's the same houses that have the wall-to-wall carpeting. It's the same houses that have the drapes and the curtains. And so, there's a pattern there. And just getting rid of one of those things probably isn't going to change the narrative too much about the house being dated. So, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're not going to change anything. This one, number 18, is one that makes me sick when I see it. Physically ill. Bathroom carpet. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Can't stand it. I don't know why anybody thought that was a good idea. Can't stand it. Ugh. Bugs and other critters. This goes kind of back to one of the things like smells. So if you got a bad smell and then you see a roach or two, now all of a sudden you're creating a narrative for a property that doesn't make it want to be bought at the price you're asking. Now, if it's a foreclosure, if nobody lives there and there's a dead roach on the floor, it is what it is. Faux crystal faucet handles. Now, I had not thought about this one either. Apparently, they look cheap and can be hard to use by young, aged, or soapy hands. Replace the faucet handle set that matches with the existing fixtures configuration that meets the standards of the American Disabilities Act with a flipper or lever style handle. Polished chrome finish will cost you the least and still be durable. So, hey, that's what the article says. I don't have an issue with it. you know, that's just me. It's not enough to turn off my buyers, I don't think. I haven't had anybody say that, but maybe they just didn't tell me. Your personal paint palette and paint effects. People really do screw up their houses with paint. I don't know why they need to paint the walls. I don't know why they need to do murals and graphics. Just paint the thing neutral colors and be done with it. No one's buying a house because you have like a picture like this on it. Wallpaper and wood paneling. This one hurt. I like wood paneling. I think if you paint it, it can look really sharp. And then it says wallpaper is making a comeback. I hope not, because I can't stand wallpaper. It's just one of those things. It says, even in the article, younger buyers may like its vintage vibe and buyers generally may appreciate its warm and cozy feel. If things like Naughty Pine, I mean, the problem that you run into is no one's like washed the walls in years, and there's like this natural crud on it. But if it's clean and looks nice and it fits with the room or fits with the style, I don't think anybody's gonna ding you for that. Now, wallpaper, some wallpaper gets out of hand. Most people look at the houses and say, well, we just have to get rid of the wallpaper when they move in. They don't. I mean, it's just kind of that it's expected. Mismatched appliances. Now you say, well, people are being too picky if they don't like their appliances to be same. But have you ever seen a house where like you got like black and white combinations or stainless steel and white combinations? Anytime I see white anymore on appliances, I feel like we're talking about a house that was last fixed around the 80s. So dated. Whereas if it's stainless steel, I feel like it's kind of where it needs to be. I don't know. Popcorn finished ceilings, can't stand them. Most people are kind of in that same space. I mean, if you see it, it's going to cost you more to get rid of the popcorn ceilings than you're going to get for the house most of the time. So just leave it and like try not to draw attention to it. That'd be my advice if I were listing your house. Now, acoustic tile and drop ceilings. There's a couple things. It says if you have an older home, your ceilings may have been covered with acoustic tiles to cover crack, plaster, or other damage. That's true. And buyers will likely think, can you imagine what it looks like underneath? Yes, that's what I think every time I see it. And why would you do that in a residential home? Like that makes no sense. And then it says in older basements, a drop ceiling can make the space feel smaller to buyers. Yes, in St. Louis, I would say that's true. If you live in like Texas and there's no basements, that's a totally different issue. But yeah, the acoustics ceilings, the drop ceilings have really been thrown out. Now in my own house, I don't have the drop ceilings in the basement. I took those out and I painted everything black. There is a trade-off though. The sound permeates up through the floor like you would not believe. So keep that in mind. And then the last one, an older HVAC system. It says buyers today care about energy efficiency, especially when it costs the cost to heat and cool, and fear having to replace a big ticket item. I think people pretty much always fear replacing a big ticket item. I don't think that's only the buyers when they first buy a house. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. If you have an older system, it's a question of pricing. Don't price your house like at the top when you have something that's really old. Now you're going to come back as a seller and say, well, it works. Well, they know it's not going to work all the time. So what good did that do? So anyway, a lot of those things that I saw on that list, to me, were accurate. Definitely. In fact, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else that would irritate me. Maybe, well, here's one. Pick up after your pet in the backyard. I mean, that really, when your buyer walks through the backyard and is looking at a wonderful flower box and now stepped in dog poo, it's over. It's over because they can't walk back through the house. It's just bad. Pick up after your dog. That's one. But I hope that helps. Sometimes I'm afraid to tell my sellers exactly how I think of things because they'll get mad at me and they'll fire me. But I do believe in being honest. And when they ask me questions, I will answer them. Like if they say, what about this carpet in the bathroom? I'll tell them I can't stand it. But if they're asking about like different types of faucets for the bathtub, I'm not really there. So interesting article. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one.